All right, we are live. Hey, y'all. So I was able to get the Uppity Negress on live. Now, I follow this woman, and y'all know I follow this woman because she shows up in when I do her comments on my videos. So y'all tend to go crazy when the Uppity Negress makes a guest appearance because I do. Do you follow my work? Do you see me?
So here's the thing about me, right? Because I'm neurospicy and my brain only clicks in certain profiles, certain kind of way. And YouTube is just one of those things that didn't click for me. Twitter didn't click for me. And so even though I know I should be on YouTube more, I'm not. But
It's okay.
I do see your little commentary throughout threads because that's where I am a lot of the time. And people do, when you do feature me, they like, hey, we saw you on BurbNBougie.
Yes. So you and that's cool because the cool thing about me and you, I'm in different spaces. I'm over on TikTok. I make TikTok videos, I make YouTube videos. I'm on Facebook, but my name on Facebook is not BurbNBougie. I'm Ashley McPetty on Facebook. And so I'll make an appearance, but that's why I'm like, I don't necessarily know you. I mean, think you know it's me. But the thing is, we say a lot of very, very similar things. So I'm like, I know soon as I bring you over here that it's going to be fun, even though we have never really talked like this. So y'all, this is Kiki. This is Uppity Negress. Yay, I'm so glad you're here. So, do you want to introduce yourself for the people in the chat?
Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Kiki Bryan. I am a writer, a social commentator, a mom from Chicago, Illinois. I am a content creator, obviously. I do a lot of work around decentering, whether that's men, whether that's whiteness, whether it's heteronormativity. I write personal growth resources, journals that help you deconstruct different ideas that we've been taught. That I feel are lies. And most recently, I am working on relaunching a platform that I used to have, which is called the Cookout, which was an intentional invitation-only community specifically for Black people. And, that is a little bit about what I'm doing. And I am also a new mom again. I have a 3-month-old. And so if you hear some babbling in the background, or if I need to, go off camera real quick and send to him, that's why.
And what's crazy is you're in Chicago. Have you always been in Chicago?
Born and raised.
See, the thing is, girl, I should have been reached out to you because I've been doing all these shenanigans for the longest time. We just moved away from Oak Park. We were in Chicago for a while. I'm not from Chicago, but I have been there since the early 2000s. So I've been out in that area. We moved to Oak Park in 2019, and we just moved to
beautiful. Like that's one of those areas. Like when I get my bag up, I would definitely consider moving.
Yeah. So
like I love the style of houses out there, like those big colonial porches, which I know it might seem crazy for me to like anything colonial, but those colonial porches, they just called me, like the wraparound ones. I want one so bad.
So yeah, we were out there. We just moved to Vegas summer of 2024. So we were like right next to each other, and you out here looking like one of my cousins anyway. And we missed out on the opportunity, but life be life. And you said you're a mom. I'm a mom. So there you have it. For the people in the chat, I'm glad that y'all are here. We got 40 set of eyeballs right now. So if you could go ahead and make sure to smash like, that would be amazing. I am going to put no, I'm not even going to talk about the GoFundMe yet. So we have talked about the need for us to have a social media presence, because I don't know about you, but how I ended up over here on YouTube in the first place was because I kept getting kicked off of Facebook. I would always get put in Facebook jail because of me clapping back. I don't even go after people. I clap back. But I get put in Facebook jail for that. And so then I started going over to TikTok, making my videos over on TikTok. But then I've been banned from TikTok 3 full times. So that second, I mean, like once I started seeing, okay, I'm getting messed up over here on TikTok as well. So then I started putting my videos over on YouTube. I just started putting them over there because I'm like, I'm going to get banned from TikTok again because that's just what happens. And so,
Especially now.
huh?
Especially now.
Oh
That is
yeah.
next.
Over on TikTok now, I use TikTok to make my videos, but I don't always post the videos over there because what's the purpose?
The
They're not
editing
even gonna
on
get
TikTok
seen.
is just unmatched.
Yeah. I like it for the editing, but I don't necessarily post everything. So the people on YouTube are the ones that see everything. And so where I'm going with this is we already know that certain people, Black folks, women, we're going to be censored highly. And so I'm guessing that that is the whole point of the cookout. You want a place where we can let our hair down, we can talk, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so let me give you a little bit of history. So this is my second time making a run at trying to get this platform started. And the first time it started because way back in the day when I was just a baby content creator, it's like 2018. And I, like you, like I'm sure many Black women out there, was getting constantly harassed by racist and sexist and, misogynoir, and I would report it and nothing would happen. But I literally could not say the word men in any context without getting banned.
Yes.
And my original page was for a podcast. So the original Uppity Negress was a podcast that I had with my ex, who I hope stubs their toe today. And we were yeah, me and my ex, we had a podcast together, and the page was just supposed to be a promotional for that podcast. But increasingly, it just became me posting there. And they were more on the podcast side. And, obviously now it's just me. And we had gotten shadow banned so badly that even though I had like 20,000 followers at the time, one person would see my post.
Yeah.
And the shadow banning was so bad between like 2018 and 2020. Like it was insane. And I was like, this is not right. And at the time I was already, kind of getting an interest in technology. I was learning user experience design also. Actually, no, learning user experience design actually came after launching the platform. But I was like, look, I just need a place where people who I know want to see me come through. And then we connected with a different friend of mine. Her name is Atia Nadira, and she is an amazing creative person who is a illustrator, all around great person. And it was actually her idea to have a platform called the Cookout. And since I was already kind of like, I want a community platform just for my followers, I'm like, hey, maybe we can expand this to include, Atia and what she's trying to do, because I think we all have kind of like aligned goals in what we're trying to do. And so that is how the Cookout was born. Now, we did get a comment from someone asking how shadow banning works. So, shadow banning is when you haven't really done anything wrong, right? The platform cannot ban you for violating community standards. So, what they do is that they reduce your reach. So say you have 10,000 fans and you think that at least 10,000 people are going to see your post, or even more than that, depending on interest or what it's about. They say, no, we're not showing you to anybody. We're not showing you to anybody. And so your message literally can't go anywhere. And even if other people try to share you, they will limit those people too. And so when you're a content creator, when you're a writer, when you're especially doing socio-political content and trying to really get out there, like shadow banning is a death sentence.
Yeah.
And it was unfair because like I literally haven't done anything. And so why are you punishing me essentially for being Black and being woman? And after I learned UX design, I did research on how banning works. And I found that if you are Black and woman or Black and queer, you were something like 4 times more likely to be banned for any infraction than a white person on Facebook. And I'm not gonna, I think that I still have that study published somewhere on like my LinkedIn or something. But yeah, I did the research, and it is like very specific to certain kinds of people who gets banned and who gets protected. And I'm like, this is not okay. Like, I don't like it. Like, and especially since so much of my content is literally just me responding to people who came to me with the expressed intent to fucking harass me. I'm sorry, I don't want to curse on your YouTube and get you shadow banned.
and that's the thing, and that's the thing precisely, because it makes you, oh my gosh, this makes us have to speak a third language. It makes us have to tippy toe around everything. And this is one of the main reasons why women are so hilarious, because we know how to clap back. We know how to insult you without necessarily using these certain words, because these dudes can say the B word. They could call us hoes. They could call us all of these things, and it's not against community standards. But when I say, why do you have boobies and you're not breastfeeding anybody, then I get put in trouble. Like, why am I in trouble? It's not my fault that you got childbearing hips and you have never had any babies. Why are you out here calling Black women fat and you're shaped like somebody's auntie? And so I just don't understand. And then I get banned or I get put in jail because I say that you should not look 14 months pregnant. But that is the truth. You should not look 14 months pregnant as a man. And then I'm the bully. I have been banned off of, I'm on TikTok and I make nightmare dating profile videos over on TikTok, but I won't even post them there because I am supposedly a bully. But these dudes can say whatever the heck they feel like saying and not get in trouble. So that's the reason why we have to go just a little bit harder. For the people in the chat, y'all, I'm going to share her GoFundMe. I brought her on here because y'all know how I am. I like to promote women. I want all of us to do well in various spaces. And she's putting this together, regardless of if we are a woman-centered space here. And I do have people that are not necessarily Black people. So I do know that some of the people that have come here are probably going to clutch their pearls that you are making a space for Black people. I get that. But can you, before I put the GoFundMe here, and no, you don't have to support, you don't have to, but this is what she is choosing to create. And she has a reason to create this. So go ahead and explain. And I know that you've had to explain why you are doing this specifically for Black people.
Yeah, like the major thing is that we are the targeted users for silencing a lot of the time, right? Like white nationalist logic rhetoric goes so far, right? But again, there's a point in time I could not say the word men, even in a neutral, like literally once to test it, I posted men, period, and got banned. I wish that wasn't exactly. And the research that I've done clearly shows that there is a bias in whatever speech policing algorithm that knows what kind of user you are, knows if you're Black, knows if you're queer, and targets you specifically. And it's not okay and it's not fair. But then also, you know, as someone who has a high amount of visibility and someone who writes at this point anti-racist resources, there is so much that gets lost in cultural translation. This baby is like, mama, I would like booby.
She wants, he wants booby from the tap. And
yes, like, this bottle thing is not working for me. I can't breastfeed you on camera, baby. I'm sorry.
So the thing is, I was a breastfeeding mommy. If you need to breastfeed your child, you want to turn off the camera, you can turn off the camera. You can, your baby needs to come first. And, I don't think that you can just
He's
whip it
fine.
out
He's
on
just
YouTube.
fat. He literally ate before we got on the camera. And so he's just being greedy.
He's like, look, it's right there, Mom. I see it. All right. But I'm just saying, I have no issue with breastfeeding moms. Do you remember when that was such a big topic a few years ago, when people would just get so angry at these moms for whipping their boobs out? I'm like, that's what boobs are for.
I hated that when my first is 13 now. I know that's a big old gap. But I had my baby, she would wear the cap that has looks like a nipple.
A nipple.
Like, so I would just be very obnoxious about it. Like, bro, I'm feeding a baby. And if this is just a conversation in real person, like I wouldn't care, but not on camera. It's okay.
Yeah. I wasn't a breastfeeding mom when I was making videos, but I have been a breastfeeding mom when I was making posts over on Facebook and stuff. And people would literally get so heated. I'm like, look, I am not going to go into a bathroom. I'm not going to keep sequestering myself to make sure y'all are comfortable. This kid comes before y'all.
Yeah.
And people are like, women just want attention and blah blah blah. But then you got the other people are like, breast is best and blah blah blah.
My ex-husband, his grandma accused me of getting sexual pleasure from breastfeeding.
Okay, that's weird.
And mind you, I'm a first-time mom. This is my first time breastfeeding, and so like nipples cracked, sore, bleeding,
not sexy.
And this is supposed
Not
to
sexy.
do something for
Not
me.
sexy. Right.
All right. Cool. But circling back to why this is needed for the Black community specifically, there are so many times in conversation where I am talking about something that is very specifically Black, like using very Black language, and somebody who is not Black will pop up to try to correct me, or will pop up and misinterpret it and then like attack me from that lens. Like, for example, one time I was on the internet minding my Black owned business, and I was talking about hobosexuals. And for those of you who are not initiated, a hobosexual is a man who pursues romantic relationships with women because he needs a place to live. He is a hobo. And some white woman with blue hair came in my comments and she was like, "Are you being homophobic?"
Oh my God. Yes, girl. And so my network, I told you we overlap a lot. We know hobosexuals. We call them hobosexuals, but I also say the pest that needs to nest and rest. I talk about them burrowing into your couch and how they need your Wi-Fi and how they want to eat your soup. So yes, we are quite initiated in hobosexuality.
But that's just an example of like how often I get attacked because someone does not understand Black language. And it happens so often, and I just get tired of it. Like, there's a certain point in time, and like the other thing I get tired of is like, there's a quote by Toni Morrison where she's like, the very function of racism is distraction. It keeps us explaining over and over our reason for being. It keeps us explaining, somebody says you don't have culture, so you go find that. And none of that is necessary, right? And I post all the time where I'm just subverting those kinds of people, because they really do expect us to spend our whole lives explaining racism to itself. And it is exhausting, and I don't want to do it. And even though I am very funny at avoiding playing their little games, and I posted on Facebook, and my Facebook is monetized, so it makes me money, I just don't want to do it. Like, it's silly, it's unnecessary, it's dumb. And I just think about how much progress within us is stalled by that very dynamic, right? And what can we do when we are just focused on building with other people who love us? with other people who understand us, right? With other people who are committed to us. What does that look like without their surveillance? What does that look like without, their interjections? What does that look like without them peeking in like, hey, include me? We don't know really what that looks like in terms of a digital space because they are always there.
And and they're going, and I have people in my my comments, because this is the thing. I am a Black woman, obviously, but I am a woman-centered space. So when I do talk about things, a lot of the things that I talk about are new, kind of race neutral, but then once I do interject Blackness or racism or something, some people can't handle that because they're not ready to unpack that. We could be like, yeah, girl, dump him, divorce him all day. But just as soon as we say something about there are ranges of oppression and privilege, and even women can be oppressive, or yes, there are some of us that get targeted because we are Black and women. And then some people don't want to hear that. And so I know that some people get uncomfortable. There are white women in my spaces that are perfectly understandable, like they understand that we're going to have our own space. But then there's some that are going to clutch their pearls and say, how dare you? You are no better than the Jim Crow white people. They're going to be those people. Now it's like they're going to be some, they're the people in my comments that are like, I understand why you need your own space. I have a niche space that I'm in. So cool, whatever. They're like, go have your space, we'll have our space, and we'll come together here. But then it's like, y'all are racist, y'all are Black nationalists, blah blah blah.
It's always interesting to me just because the foundation of whiteness is hatred. The foundation of whiteness is exclusion, right? Like literally the legal foundations of whiteness in America, because we're both American. And that pisses me off too sometimes when I'm talking about something that's a Black American, that's uniquely American. They're like, but this doesn't apply in Europe. Great, because I'm not there. But yeah, like, can I help you, sir? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, get that baby. Get that baby. Um, but yes, I know you got to do baby stuff, but for the people that are interested, Kiki, and I got to pull up my own live YouTube right now so I can put it in the chat. But she has a GoFundMe, and she has a GoFundMe because number one, this is like y'all. A lot of times people don't know how much work it is in the background, how much you have to like focus. It costs money to do things, and sometimes it pays, sometimes it doesn't. And she wants to create an app and put it out there, and it's going to cost money. So she has created a GoFundMe. And you know what? Like these people are out here being racist and raising money. They'll lose their job for being racist.
That lady who called the 5-year-old autistic boy the N-word made $800,000.
And it's just like wild. And so Kiki is a Black woman. She wants to raise some money. And there's going to be somebody out here that might have a couple of extra dollars that is willing to part with a couple of dollars for Kiki. So I'm about to put her GoFundMe in the chat, and I'm going to periodically drop it in the chat. So for the people that don't know, can you explain to them what you need money for and what you're trying to do?
Yeah, so as I said before, this is my second time taking a crack at making the cookout. The first time I know what I was doing, y'all. All right. I was just like, I have this great idea and I'm gonna go for it. But in that process, I learned a lot of things. A lot of those things have been applied. Like I paid $20,000 to learn UX design so that I can like design every single screen, every single feature, every single, component. And I can show you that. Like I invested in, finishing my business degree so that I can manage this more effectively. I've been building a team to help me with this. Um, all of that costs money, but also time. Time costs money.
Yeah.
Um, and so he has bullied me. I'm going to nurse him. And
Okay.
so we
So
just gonna.
look at how you did that. See, you managed to do that. I'm trying to post your link, but I think it's too big.
Mm.
That's too bad. The way I try to put it in the chat, it
Well,
seems like
they
there's
can
two.
also go to my threads. It's on my threads for sure.
Okay. So did you have people that seemed like they were going to be coming over from your network to come over here?
So this is when I posted about it, Facebook shadow banned it, and so it didn't go very far on my Facebook.
Oh,
But people saw it on my threads for certain.
okay.
Yeah.
Nope. I'm not able to post that, but it's okay because I will
I'll
go over.
definitely share it after the fact because they like seeing me talk on video. Since I'm not really a video first creator, uh, I always feel super awkward on videos. Like, what do I do if I didn't have a baby
See,
in my hand? What do I do with my hands? I don't like what is anything. Um, yes, but we gonna figure it out.
we're gonna figure it out because I post all day. And I am a video
Oh,
first type of
somebody
person.
said that they're here from the Threads announcement. So
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, you can see the
comment.
chat. Okay. And maybe you can help me out too, because I'm over here trying to get to 100,000 subscribers on my YouTube page. I'm trying to get my silver plaque. So if you could, after you get this live back or whatnot, share it and say, help your girl out, because I'm trying to get to 100,000. And I have less than 2,000 that I'm at 98,294.
Yeah, I'll
So,
definitely be sharing and telling people to check it out and
all right,
all of that.
but
Um,
yeah, I will, since I can't, I mean, I was trying to share your GoFundMe in the chat, but since I can't share your GoFundMe, I'll make sure to do it after the fact because it costs money to do all that. It costs money from what you've already invested. And obviously, is this what you do full time for your paycheck, is be a content creator?
no. And then people always assume that just because my content obviously does pretty well, that they assume that I'm making enough from it to just quit my job. Y'all, I'm a banker. I work at a bank. Uh,
What?
Now I am on maternity leave due to the fact that I have had a human, but I am, you know, I'm a banker. I work full time.
Huh.
Eventually
What? You work full time?
I work full time.
Wow.
Eventually, I would like to um, just really focus on, the cookout and, my books, which I am at a point with my books that I might do that. And interesting enough, that's what I was thinking of when you were talking about how you have a woman centric audience. And sometimes when you're talking about Blackness, they get a little triggered. That's literally exactly where my journal business came from, because
Mm-hmm.
I was like, there are so many white people in my comments that want to do better. There are so many, people in my comments who tell me, like, Kiki, can you teach me how to do boundaries, how to have boundaries? Kiki, can you help me decenter men? And I'm just like, girl, I got you. Like, and so that's really how I started writing my journal resources, and they've been doing really well, especially decentering whiteness, because there is a large contingent of white people who end up in our spaces who don't want to be harmful, who don't want to be dense, who don't want to be tone deaf. And I found a lot of success in creating something that helps them work through that. And my other resources too, I get messages from women all the time like, oh my God, your decentering men journal is so great, because it just made me think about, my relationship with relationships and, do better. And so
Yeah.
that's, the white people, at least in my following, they've been gobbling decentering whiteness up. So I don't know if your white people are interested, but they're available on uppity
And you do so well. I actually have a book too that I don't talk about nearly enough. Girl, my book is called Ashy Men Will Make You Fat. And I have a journal and everything because this is something that we talk about, like how just having a sucky person around will impact your health. It'll impact your finances. And some people get triggered by me saying ashy men will make you fat. Like, oh my gosh, you're just fat phobic. And I know that you probably already know what I'm talking about just offhand. It's just like because your cortisol goes up, because there's just certain things that happen when you have a ashy dude in your presence. He'll be eating up all your food. It's a whole lot of crossover with the things that we do. And I sit up and watch you. You are amazing with always linking in your stuff. I bet you the people in
That
my
has been
chat.
my biggest lesson for the year, is like not being afraid to promote myself, and like just trusting that the people that it's for are going to appreciate it. Like that is the
How Why
biggest.
are we like that? Why does it take so much for us to say, look, y'all are here, I'm here too, providing this? Why does it take so much for us to put ourselves out there and say, look, if you want to support me here? Why does it take so much to do that?
Well, for me, I wouldn't say that it is like, for me, the whole thing is like, yes, capitalism sucks, but we all got to survive within it, right? And so like some of the commentary that I get when I'm promoting myself, like for example, over the last week, we had a lot of like commentary from the BAFTA incident,
Yeah,
which I ain't gonna rehash none of that right now. I'm so tired of that discourse. But
yeah.
there's a lot of that from the BAFTA incident. And I made a post, and specifically I was talking about commentary that I had gotten personally from white people about it, and why those behaviors are not actually acceptable in my space. And then I linked decentering whiteness. And I was like, if you don't want to be this person, I made this resource that can help you work through that. And some white lady with pink hair, because they tend to have colored hair. Some white lady with pink hair, she came and she's like, I think it's kind of tacky that you're promoting your book on a post about someone else's disability. Again, the post was about my experience with white people who have interacted with me. But like that kind of knee jerk is common on like, no matter what you're talking about, even if your product or whatever is a direct link in, people don't like the idea of a Black woman benefiting from anything, really, a lot of the times. Like, because sometimes I'll just be talking about some nonsense and somebody will comment and be like, why are you promoting that? And I block those people 100% of the time, because I don't want people in my space that have a problem with me promoting myself, just like I don't
Yeah.
want people in my space that have a problem with me defending my intellectual property. Like I block 100% of people that when I'm copyright striking people, or when I am out in these streets, like calling people out for stealing my stuff, I block 100% of people who have something negative to say about it. Because why you want to consume me but get mad when I protect me?
Right.
No. But that dynamic is there. It really is.
Um, so thank you, millennial disabled veteran. Thank you for the $20. Is that for me? I mean, if you are leaving that for me, that would be cool. But she says, go to Burb's post about this live. I left the direct GoFundMe link there as a comment. But do know, after I get off of here, that I will make a community post and just share a screenshot and then post the link. I do appreciate y'all joining the live and dropping me a couple of bucks, because yes, this is 100% how I live, is my content
Oh
creation.
wow. Okay.
100%. Uh-huh. YouTube, girl, YouTube.
Okay.
And I
I'm
don't,
trying to get on your level. All right. We might
we'll,
have to
we,
chop up.
we'll have to talk, because you already have a built-in audience. You already have a built-in audience. So it's like, some people don't have that, and so they will watch you. but it doesn't always cross over. Sometimes it's hard to get people off
That's
of.
my struggle. Is I'm a writer, right? Like I like to write. And so, you know, platforms that prioritize text always seem the most natural to me. That's why TikTok didn't really click for me. You know,
Okay.
that's why Instagram didn't really click for me. I'm a writer. And so, you know, the transition is hard for me, not necessarily for my audience, I think.
Yeah. And the cool thing about it, what I noticed, and I saw you talking to or about Abby the other day, how she used Labor Digger. Labor Digger came from Uppity. But Labor Digger describes many of the things that we talk about all the time. And I've talked to Abby on Zoom before. She is a very approachable woman. And I do think that sometimes, it is a knee-jerk reaction to be like, how dare you? But you gave her the opportunity to switch things up, and then she came back and corrected herself.
Yeah, but you know what? I am still getting mad white people trying to tag me to argue with them about it.
Some of them are not ready to let it go. Some of them are not ready just yet. Just like, oh my gosh, men.
I hate the idea that every single fucking thing that a Black woman creates is just open season for anybody to come in and use and take and appropriate however they want. It makes me so gutturally, ancestrally angry. It does. It really does. Like, and it's not okay to me that it's so casual for people to do that. And
And then you have the nerve to stand up for yourself, and they'll be like, that's the reason why your name is Uppity. Like, how dare you? And one of the things, you see how we're talking right here. I swear to goodness, isn't this how Black people are? It's like we could have been cousins the way we just come in and just start talking because it's easier. And like, this has been what has been so important for me. And the reason why it's been so important for me to be a front facing, always in your face Black woman space. Because so many times we get stereotyped as angry, bitter, like when they draw us in these stereotypical caricature type of ways, we have these features that are just exaggerated. And that's one of the main reasons why I want to be out there front facing, because like, how are they going to listen to the things that we're saying? We're not saying anything hateful. We're not angry. You have some righteous indignation when somebody steals your intellectual property, but still it's like, no, you can't just call us all of these names. And that's why I am so glad that so many of us are getting into these spaces so that men can stop writing about us and just using stereotypes to write about us.
yeah, absolutely.
So Liquid Sunshine is saying, but why are they in our spaces? They're in our space. Oh, that's not. Thank you, Canda. Can Davis, thank you. But Liquid Sunshine says, why are they in our spaces though? They're in our spaces because
They can be.
in order for us to keep going far and wide, we have to be kind of public. Because like when I first came over to YouTube, I popped about 3 years ago on YouTube, and there were already Black women spaces. Cynthia G was really big, and people thought that I was going to just be copying off of her or copying off of other Black women that are talking about the Black women experience. But I took a different route where I was talking women-centered stuff, and then I would be a Black woman in that space. But the thing is like, we have to keep going as far and wide as possible to continue to find the audience that is good for us. Some of the people are in our spaces genuinely because they want to learn. So you can't just kick everyone out first
And
and foremost.
that's why I made that journal. Like, I noticed, like, obviously there's the racist, and forget them, right? They can go somewhere and, you know, away from me. I don't care where. But there are a good contingent that I noticed in my comments of they do want to do better. And, you know, I was sitting after, I think Decentering Whiteness was my third journal. The first was Boundaries Bible. Then the second was the Decentering Men. And then I was like, from here, I think that the natural is like decentering whiteness, because they want to do better and they trust me to, you know, guide them and teach them in a way. It's not a role I asked for, you know,
Right.
and it's certainly not one that, you know, I would have chosen for myself, because, you know, I'd rather not. But if they're here and they trust me, I feel like I kind of have a duty to try in a way.
Yes.
But also that is tiring and it's exhausting, you know. uh, and so I think part of the cookout is like just a place to rest. Like, where can we go to just be? Because the expectation when you are a Black person in public is that you are just going to be an endless fountain of grace and information and education.
In entertainment.
Yeah, and you know, I said I wasn't going to rehash the BAFTA incident, but when I think about the BAFTA incident, you know, so many people's response to that just completely looked over the hurt that you saw in Delroy Lindo's eyes. You know, like that matters. That
Yeah.
that matters to me. I can't speak for anybody else, but it definitely matters to me. And why should he be expected to have grace when there are all of these failures around him? That moment didn't have to happen, and nobody cared enough to make it not happen. And that matters too. And like, why do we have to be just constantly open to whatever experiences come our way, and we just have to take it, or we just have to, you know, take it in stride, or, you know, snap back and be witty and funny, which everybody can't do. I do it well, but everybody can't do. You know, everybody doesn't have my same level of thick skin. Everybody doesn't have, you know, the same level of wit. And so what they're left with is just the hurt and the exhaustion from constantly having to be in that role.
So in my page, I do the things that I do purposely. And so for the people in the chat, y'all might not know this, but the way I structure my page by doing Reddit posts, by posting pettiness, and then throwing in some political stuff or news. I do this on purpose. I do part of it to reel people in, humanize myself, and make myself trustworthy. But then I'm able to put in the things that are important to me. And so people can tell the switch. And sometimes it's like, okay, now it's time to get down to business. Like, you know, when we start talking about Black women, maternal mortality, when we start talking about femicide, there are some things it's like, no, we can't really kiki about that. We're going to have to actually have these, like Andriana Smith, when that happened, people, and we talk about those things, you could hear the type of hurt and things that that we have to live with, that not everybody has to live with. So when people say things to us like, why do you have to make everything racial, it
I
is
wish I didn't.
it's
I would
amazing.
love I would
It's
love to live in a world where every single thing does not have a racial component to consider. I would
right.
love that universe,
when
but it's
when
not
we know when we know that we can walk into when we know that we can walk into the hospital and get the same level of service, or that we can walk into a real estate office agency or whatnot and get the same level of service and find a safe place to raise our kids, when we know that we can do that as a Black woman and not have to act like, you know, we're white people on the phone, when we don't have to consider, do I need to give my child a white sounding name? Like, there are certain things that some people don't have to deal with. But when we're talking about these types of things, they're not ready for that conversation, because if we talk about the levels of oppression, they're not necessarily ready to confront that, because that means that because we have some level of oppression, they must have some level of privilege that they're not ready to examine.
Also, I think that there's a very specific kind of pathology in white women that they fetishize victimhood and the idea that they are not perhaps the biggest victim is triggering to them. Like I've been trying to parse out that dynamic for a while, but it's definitely there. Like some people, some white women specifically, just are very in love with the idea of being the victim. And of course, being, racially oppressed or oppressed by gender, it doesn't necessarily make you a victim. But when I think of, like, for example, white women who blackfish, right?
Uh-huh.
There was a white woman who was a part of the woke book community that I was a part of, and she would go above and beyond trying to prove that she was just like some freedom fighting Afro Latina. And then, she was just a white woman with a tan and a bad wig. But she went hard like that because she can only view racialized oppression through the lens of victimhood. And she wanted that to a higher level than she felt like she was entitled to by birth alone.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus using her privilege to speak up for certain things. Woo, girl. When we talked beforehand, I was like, both of us can obviously talk. We're content creators, so you never know where these things are going to take us. But it is that this last part has been a little bit, definitely a little bit deep. But that's just simply life at times. That's just simply life. So what else you got? What else do you have going on? Except except causing a ruckus over on Threads and Facebook. How do you manage all that? I'm sure tons of people probably wonder how I manage to be in all of these spaces and juggle two kids and marriage and all that kind of stuff. So how do you juggle all of this?
I mean, I'm ADHD. I feel like that helps a lot. That helps a lot. And it feeds my dopamine, and so I am, physiologically incentivized to keep engaging. It's certainly easier the last few months since I have been on leave. But you'll notice sometimes when, weekdays when I am working that I'm online less, and that's why, because I'm actually working. So I've just been using this time that I'm off to really build a foundation for a life where I don't have to work for anybody else. And I'm so close to that. Like my
Yes.
books are selling really well. And not only are they selling really well, people are like, this is a life-changing text for me. Like this just connected so many things. I have like pretty much all 5-star reviews besides the one 4-star I got because she said that the shipping took too long, even though it was within the window that I tell y'all was gonna get delivered. But whatever.
But whatever,
But
whatever.
whatever. Who's mad about it?
Whatever. I
Who's
mean,
stressed about it? Who stays up all night thinking about that? Not me. Um but yeah, so I'm really liking this part of the journey where the foundations that I've laid just with consistency and authenticity and building trust with my audience are just really
yes.
coming together. Um, and so, that now I'm at a space where actually, staying home and not having to work for anybody else is within reach. Like I could quit my job tomorrow with how well my small business is doing. I won't because, there's still a level of anxiety with doing that. So I might give myself another 6 months. But it's a good place to be. And certainly,
It
my
is
my
amazing.
my kid's dad, he would prefer that I just live off his money, but I'm not that woman. So I can't do that.
So, I mean, and for the people that are in the chat, this is literally the first time me and Kiki have ever talked together like this. But me and you are going to probably have to talk because obviously we we like other people create networks that help pull people up. And so we got to be able to live and eat off of each other and push each other, because the crossover is already there, but still, like, I don't have, some people get a little defensive about doing better than other folks, and I personally don't care. Like, you have something that needs to be pushed. I got something that needs to be pushed. There's no reason for there to be any competition. There have been other people that I have brought into my, live and brought in and
I'm not
pushed.
a competitor. I'm a collaborator for certain.
There you go. That's the reason why a matriarchy is so much different than a patriarchy. It's like, I want us all to eat. Well, I'm not going to promote any crap. I'm only going to promote the things that I would actually enjoy. But still, oh my God, you getting tired? That baby keeping you up.
Yeah, he just went to sleep, and my body is just designed that baby sleep, I sleep. But we
I
gonna
got you. And someone asked me what my mom meter was like, because typically I'll go live for like 1 hour. Have you seen how some of these people go live and they'll be on for hours and hours? I'm like, how are you doing this? And what are you even getting from this? Like, on TikTok.
Let's talk about vloggers, because I've tried to vlog before, but like, how are you living your life and recording it at the same time?
I don't know.
Like, I can't figure it out. If I ever crack that puzzle, my content will definitely go to a new place, because the algorithm does want to push videos more these days. But it's interesting that you're talking about a network, right? So many of the Black woman creators that you have seen that have maybe popped up in the last four-ish years were directly inspired because they were members of the Cookout and they were followers of me, and they'd started to build their own spaces. Like, two of those people that I can think of off the top of my head are Black Newsbeat with Dr. Kamika Candle. She was a Cookout member, went on to have her own successful platform, and the Tipsy Auntie, who I adore and is actually a real life friend of mine, like the member of the Cookout. We all connected, made her own platform. And Dr. Kamika and I were actually working on some other projects together, because, our rapport is just that strong. And those are just the ones I can think of off the top of my head. There are so many Black women creators in the same kind of similar space where they're like, I am here because of you, because of the Cookout. And that's one of the things that I love most about having curated that space, is because it made people feel safer or more confident in putting themselves out there. And that is the difference between a competitor and a collaborator. There is legitimately room for everybody. It's content. It's just you are competing for people's eyes. And there's no reason that they can't look at you and another person too.
Yep.
And I really don't like, people who have crunchy panty energy around that, like very limited minds, limited imaginations,
Yes.
limited creativity, where they think that it just has to be them and that's it.
Yeah.
There are things that I'm great at, but another Black woman might be good at something else. And guess what? We are both equally valid. Like, there doesn't have to be one type of us either. And that's the number one thing that I loved about the Cookout, is that I was able to discover those types of women and, support them as they go on their own journey. Like, when I say I'm a girl's girl, and I'm a Black girl's girl, most specifically, that's what I mean. Like, I'm always going to support people who are doing the right thing in this space.
So I just need to highlight and hone in that she said crunchy panties energy. And so we're going to have to use that in a conversation. So I'm just putting that
So
out.
let me break down what crunchy panties energy means for people who, like, there's a certain kind of woman, right? And she is a very male identified woman, and she just seems bothered all the time. She's irritated. It's because she's itchy. She's itchy. She got some stuff going on. It ain't got nothing to do with you. Maybe she needs some monostat. You know, maybe she needs to go get her yeast infection, treated, her UTI treated. Maybe she needs to, go to the laundromat. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, it has something to do with what's going on deep inside her, and not you, boo.
And this is one of the main reasons why I will never leave threads because women are amazing. Women are hysterical. And I'll just be over there, like in the middle of the night with my phone scrolling when I should be asleep, just cracking up, trying not to wake people up. But we have been so censored forever. Men have always been the ones writing stuff. And men are not that funny. Women are hysterical, though. And we have to be hysterical in our own coded language because we get censored so much. And so we find ways to describe accurately and hilariously these things. And it's just so effortless. Like, like, yeah, now we're gonna all be thinking about crunchy penny energy. One thing I call some of these people patriarchy patties, that uphold the patriarchy, because everybody can't just be a pick me, but there are patriarchy patties that are upholding things that need to topple.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so typically, like I said, I do lives for about 1 hour. We're just about at an hour. You need to go rest. You're a new mom. I need to do some other content stuff. So I'm going to let you wrap this up. But before I do, thank you everybody that came here from me. Thank you to the people that came here from Uppity Negress that might not necessarily be one of my subscribers. Please follow me. Mama trying to get over to 100,000 on YouTube and get my silver plaque because I have been hustling over here in this space. So
you got so many followers over here. Clearly, you've been hustling.
Man, I'm hustling. I put out 4 or 5 videos, long videos a day. It's crazy. I am crazy. That's why I will talk. We can talk off. I'm busy. But thank you for coming over. To the people that crossed over, go ahead and subscribe. Help me get to that 100,000 that plaque, and I'm gonna let you have the final word.
All right. Again, thanks to everybody that tuned in. If you're a follower of mine, go ahead and give BurbNBougie a follow. If you're a follower of hers and you think that I'm hilarious, you're correct. Follow me too. You can check out my threads at Uppity_Negress_. There'll be a link to the GoFundMe there, all of my other content. You can follow me on Facebook at Uppity Negress Redux. And if you are Black and you would like to find out about the Cookout, I have put up a link to get on our email list. It's www.thecookoutonline.co. And thank you so much for joining us today.
All right, cool. And I'll talk to you off of this live, and I am going to end the stream, y'all. So bye, everybody.
Bye.
Stream. Cool.